Welcome, everyone, to another edition of On the Trail in Search of Living Legends. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fountain. We're on episode 19 of this season, which I cannot believe. You, Nick?
Oh, I can't believe it, man. The time just flew.
Flies. Of
What?
course, we've got Mr. Nick Valente with us, my brother.
How you doing, everybody?
Nick?
Well, Jerry, I was going to say, but we had some damn great guests and some great interviews this year.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
And tonight we've got another one for you. We've got our actually one of our co-founders of this show, Mr. Shawn Wilson. Shawn, it's good to see you again, brother.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's I'm sorry I've been absent for everything for so long. I've just been life, you know.
Yeah, life gets in the way.
Yeah,
sure does.
Hey, Shawn, how are you today?
Good, Nick. How are you?
Excellent. And we're having fantastic weather here, and I hear you folks are not having it so well where you are, or where Jay is either. My God, It's still snowing up in upstate New York. My God.
Yep. We've had it snow in June up here before.
Oh, jeez. In June.
June
I
1st.
mean, seriously, summertime's right around the corner when it's June.
June 1st, we had it one year. Anyway, so Shawn, it's good to have you back, man. And we got a lot of new viewers, so you just want to give us a quick background on yourself, man? How you got into this crazy field we love so much?
Well, I think most people know my story. My first encounter. What was it? It was the last day of archery season in 2017, and backing up before that, I've done this story so many times. I'd seen footprints and you know, I got curious about stuff. And the last day of archery season, I was in my truck. I knew I was way too late to get down into the woods, so I just parked to see what would be coming through, if you know. And so I was glassing the area, and I'm coming up the property divide line, and literally 30 yards in front of me there's a fucking Bigfoot and behind a tree looking at me through my windshield. And I think the only reason that I was able to look at him is because the glare, he didn't know I was looking at him, or she, or whatever, and it was a juvenile. Couldn't have been much more than 6 foot, if that. I went back and I found footprints from that one, and they roughly matched mine, about the size. But anyway, yeah, that kind of got me going. I reached out to
you and I talked right after that, I remember.
Well, yeah, I went on Chronicles first, and I got on that show before he hit 200 episodes. And then I reached out to Mr. Jevning and became part of the Jevning project for a while, and it kind of splintered off into the, you know, what we got going here. And a little bit more open-minded on what I think that's what makes this group good, is because we don't shut people down for having different views or thinking different outside of the box, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody's welcome here. There's no criticism. Nobody's going to give you a hard time for whatever, you know. And I think a lot of people leave out the weird stuff because they're afraid. I mean, Bigfoot's weird enough, and Dogman's weird enough, and then you get the woo factor in here, you know, the orbs and things that people see, and people don't want to, you know, go all out. And so this is a safe place for people that have, you know, that have seen weird stuff. And that's why we made this page.
Exactly. That's why we founded it.
That's why we did what we did, and kind of splintered off. Nothing against Jevning and those guys. Love them all. They're good guys, whatever. But I just, you know, I'm not in the monkey camp. I don't think these things are monkeys.
No,
I just don't think they're monkeys.
No,
but,
me neither.
Where would you like to go? What would you like to talk about?
Well, let's talk about, you know, I know you had a second encounter down there, and you've got some interesting stuff going on. You've casted some good footprints. That second encounter.
the second encounter was a lot closer to town. This is 10 minutes from my house. I can shoot straight down Adams Street, go down 168th, be in my blind, one of the blinds that I've set up on this property, in no time flat. In fact, Larry the cable guy lives probably a mile and a half south of where I hunt. It's not far at all, which is crazy because I didn't think they were that close to town. I didn't think they'd venture in that close, but I guess they can do whatever they want, you know? I mean, there's enough places to hide. And there's massive beds out there too. It's so weird. It looks like giant, you know, like elk beds, but 2 times.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all over the place. It's like they take advantage of the morning sun and they lay down in the middle of the field there, and they're surrounded by cedar trees.
Yep.
I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know that that's the truth, but what else would flatten the grass like that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is all like waist high, you know,
Right.
grass, and
Yeah.
something's flattening it out. But back to the sighting, I was archery hunting in an area that I thought, okay, you know, I'm not going to see anything here. I won't have any weird stuff happen here. But sure as shit, 60 yards in front of me, there's a peeker. He was laying down on his belly, looking at me underneath the cedar tree, just staring straight at me. I could make his face out plain as day. And you know how crossbow scopes don't zoom in like a rifle scope, but I was able to make him out really well. I wanted to make sure it wasn't pareidolia. I know I was looking at what I'd seen before: black eyes, the same structure, the same sort of nose. The nose was different. It wasn't as pointy. It was more bulbous, but pretty much the same skin and everything like that. I got out of my blind and I fucking walked right up to it with this in my hand.
There you
And it was gone. I turned around, unzipped the tent, and some, you know, I mean, that must have been enough time for it to say, shit, I'm out of here, and run down the tree line, or whatever he did, or she did, or it did. So I went back to my blind, and where I had seen this thing, I could see daylight coming through.
No.
So I put my bow back up where it was gone, and you could see daylight coming through in the bottom, and you could see where it had been cleared out.
Yeah.
So he was laying down there just looking straight at me.
Eyeballing you.
Yeah. And oh man, and the same spot I've had in a different blind, I had coyote bones put on my chair inside the blind. Something unzipped the freaking blind, either that or it's got those windows that are mesh that you can they kind of overlap so you can put your arm through.
Yeah.
Either something reached in and put these coyote bones on my chair, or unzipped I don't know how, but down in the same area, I've got a tree stand, and I had owl feathers jammed underneath the seat of the tree stand.
Huh.
And I've got those over on my safe. I've got 3 owl feathers. And so, and I'm kind of going the most recent stuff to further back.
This
was all this last archery season. This stuff happened. And okay, so the sun's going down, and I got a buck coming in from my east. He turns perfect broadside, not even 20 yards, probably 15. I got him. No, I got him. I got him good. So I wait, and I probably gave him a half an hour to expire. So I wait about a half an hour. The sun goes down. I take my flashlight and I find the blood. I start walking. I go over this little ridge and right to the fence line. And the blood, there's like a big puddle where it had laid down, but it was gone. No deer, right? So I'm walking back and forth, going back and forth, and I'm thinking to myself, did one of these guys snatch my deer? And sure as shit, I got a big whoop. So I said out loud, I said, you guys can effing keep it. Just don't, I don't want no, but I got my Glock 20, 10 millimeter with, not that, not this is going to kill one of those things, but at least it would give me a chance to get to my truck, maybe, hopefully.
How many grain is that there, Shawn?
10 millimeter, 220 grain. These are
Full metal jacket?
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Hard, where's the camera? There we go.
Right there.
Hardened lead. These things fly and they do massive damage. You could kill a buffalo with one of these bullets.
Absolutely.
You could take down a bear with one of them. That's what
they're made.
that's what my team and I carry. We have 200 grain bullets for the and they're hard, solid core.
Yeah.
For the Glock 10.
Yeah.
You see, Jay? He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
Well,
10 millimeter.
Yeah.
Ghost trigger. I put a flat trigger on there with a ghost connector. I've got a Holosun red dot and this TLR1 light. I don't know how bright it is, but it works.
Yeah.
It gets me out of the field just fine. So that's what I've been carrying ever since my first encounter. I decided I was not going to let these things take away my hunting, and I did actually get a real nice deer this year.
Nice.
Really, really good buck.
Nice.
At the last day of season down where I'd seen the first one. I got his head in the garden in the back there. I'm just going to let nature do its work, and my cat's trying to get in the door.
Feed the soil, huh?
Feed the soil, and then I'm going to hydro dip it, and my cat will not stop.
So they didn't steal that one from you?
No, that one I found, but yeah, I'm 100% sure that the other one they did.
Sounds like it.
That whoop was loud as, and it startled me, but I knew what was going on.
That whoop was probably a Sasquatch way of saying thank you, and they must like you, Shawn. You're feeding them.
Well, I'm still alive, so
Right.
This is not the first time I've heard a hunter out there take down a deer with a arrow or with a bullet. The deer is scampering off. They're following the blood trail, and there is no deer there. One guy, his deer it fell over a cliff and went down 20 feet, and he knew it couldn't go anyplace because it was bleeding out, broke its legs on the fall. He looked down, there it was. He went down around to go get it, and it was gone.
Right.
So there are so many hunters out there actually that have reported this happening to them.
Yeah. I had the same experience happen to me in Colorado when I was in my mid-20s, and this is before Bigfoot was even on my radar at all. I mean, Bigfoot to me wasn't even real 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was 5. But yeah, I whacked a doe really good, and I mean the blood trail was so thick you could snorkel through it, and then it was gone. I mean, just gone. And I've never, that doesn't happen that often. You don't have a blood trail like that and not find the animal.
No, they're running out of blood, so you.
Yeah, just like this last one, I hit that deer solid. I know that I killed it, and what I heard it crash right over the hill. So I thought, all right, I'm going to let it bleed out, give it a good half an hour, and go get it. And well, when I was starting to walk back into the thicket where it gets real thick and the woods are there's not a lot of open ground. It's real thick in there. That's when I got moved, and that's when I got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, you could deal with one, but they don't usually go in ones. They're out there like 3 to 5, 7.
Exactly.
I imagine. Yeah,
Do you
and
think it's
there's a gun store right across the street from this place too. And
oh,
I'm telling you, there's a storage unit right over. It's so close to town. It's unbelievable.
well,
I
it's crazy. It's crazy because Nick, we talked about this. The metropolitan areas in these towns are expanding. They're losing their territory in some of these spots, which are gonna, you know, bring these
Yeah.
things in
Yeah.
closer. To,
Yeah, Shawn. I mean, like where I am, down in Texas also, they're building townhouses and houses at a high rate for some reason. And cryptids are just losing their forest area. Plus, they're losing their access to water. They're losing their access to the deer population, the rabbits and whatnot that run around there. They're losing their food
Right.
supply. So in New Jersey, even, I mean, last month I had 5 sightings, alone, and that's unusual. That is unusual. I mean, it's not unusual to have a sighting. I'm talking about Dogman now, not Sasquatch. I'm sorry, I
Right.
should have
Yeah,
clarified that. But for a Dogman sighting, way back when, maybe a year ago, even, I was having maybe one a month, maybe one every 2 months. Now it's 3. Last month it was 5.
yeah.
This month it's almost over. I've had 3.
Wow.
And I'm not talking about South Jersey, which is a more common area to have it in because that's down near the Pine Barrens. I'm talking about in Central Jersey, where I am. North Jersey, not so
Jersey
much.
Devil.
Yeah, Jersey Devil country, or hammerhead bat or horsehead bat country, actually.
Right. Whichever.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of weird stuff in that area.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
huge
so
area.
they're being pushed. They're being pushed out into the open. And a buddy of mine down in Texas, he owns a ranch, and the ranch next door has a barn just about 20 feet off of his fence, and he's had a couple of juvenile dogmen in there, and
Wow.
he's been harassed for at least a year now. He and his wife are, well, I guess I would call them lucky because they don't have kids yet. So it's just the 2 of them with their armament, and I mean they don't go any place without rifles and pistols.
Yeah.
So, I mean it's just happening. They're being pushed. I don't know if it's so much for Sasquatch, but for Dogman they're being pushed.
Yeah.
I have a theory about that, but this is coming from a Christian perspective. I really think that we're in the last days, man, and I think that these things are demonic. I think once their leashes are taken off, these things are going to attack. I think they're going to come after whoever's left behind after rapture. Now, that's just my personal belief, because I think these things have angelic DNA. I think that they're part Nephilim. They're bastard offspring from Nephilim. That's just, Scott Carpenter kind of got me thinking in that way, and it made a lot of sense to me coming from a biblical perspective. That's how I have to look at being a Christian. I try to anyway. I got to make sense of it somehow. And I really feel like New York. They're talking about in New York, how to prepare for a nuclear blast. Lay down on the ground, put your thumbs in your ears, face
Kiss
down.
your ass goodbye. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way that things are going, but in the end, the good guys win, and that's what I'm counting on.
Well, they're talking about New York for a nuclear blast, but they're also talking about California because it's high density population.
Yeah.
So they've always been on the target for the Russians, and I guess now the Chinese. However, if you'll notice, we have a carrier group on both the East and West Coast ready to, with anti-missile missiles. And we also have them all over the place. At least I see them because I fly over them quite often. They have the ground to air defense and at the different military bases. So we're not going to be taken unawares.
Hopefully that works. But Who knows, man? Who
Who
knows?
knows?
I think we're looking at end times. I think I'm gonna see Jesus come back in my
Well, I just
before
got
I
5 more boxes of
naturally
MREs
die.
in, so
Yeah, I need to start doing that, man. I got to start putting away some dry goods and water. I have to.
yeah.
We've started.
Good.
Some
Good.
some bottles of iodine.
Yeah.
So you could drop that in the water. Remember, filter your water out through a rag first, and
Right.
then use your stuff, because some of that stuff, some of the stuff doesn't get filtered out too well.
Right.
Once you filter it, by the way, once it boils, once it reaches boiling temperature, I just let it boil for another minute and it's good to go. So, just people out there ought to know these things, for survival. But
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, I mean, I could live on mirrors forever, as far as I'm concerned. They're okay.
You can get by on them.
It's better than dying.
It is. Shawn, now have you
Yeah.
experienced any of the weird stuff down there? Like the orbs, anything like that, lights in the sky?
No. Yeah. Well, yes. As far as the UFOs, I saw one. Oh gosh, what night was that? I took last Friday. It would be last
Okay.
Friday. I took the kids to a movie. We went and saw that Mario Brothers movie, and
Mhm.
Amanda was having a bunko party here, so we have to leave for 3 hours so the ladies can, do their thing. And
Do the thing. Yeah.
right, so on the way home, there was a thunderstorm going on at the time, and I could see this white light coming, and I thought, okay, it's a helicopter going to the hospital. It wasn't a helicopter. This thing was probably not more than 100 yards up above us. When I got underneath it, I could see there were 4 white lights and 1 blue light in the middle. None of them were flashing. There was no sound coming from this thing, and it just kept on going south right
Wow.
over us. But I think that was like probably a drone or something,
I mean,
like a
300
government.
feet off the ground. I mean, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the thunderstorm, they thought maybe that, I don't know, get away with it because nobody's looking out. I don't know.
Down in your spots, though, have you, where you had your encounters, anything like that?
I got pictures on my trail
Okay.
cams,
That's what I
white
thought.
orbs, and I
Yep.
got a red orb way off in the distance.
Yep.
But that's about it. I've never seen anything down there, but I have had extensive interaction since last time we talked down
Oh,
in
okay.
that area. Almost every time I go down there, something happens.
Mm.
And if you have a female with you, shit really happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
Especially
for our listening audience, Shawn is talking about Nebraska in that
Yeah.
area there. So we won't tell you exactly where, but Nebraska, the state of Nebraska. Shawn, while I am talking about that, in Nebraska, I don't get too many reports, but some. Have you had any experience with Dogman in your area? Any sightings or encounters?
Thank God, no. I don't want one. I don't. I
No.
don't. I don't. I think that might just. I don't know if I could handle that. To be honest with you, I don't want to see one. I know they're there. I don't want nothing to do with them. But I have had. I've got canine footprints down, same almost exactly where I cast the last footprint. I've seen big canine footprints down there that I can't explain. They're not
Mhm.
Right.
coyotes. They're way too big. Way too
Right.
big.
And there's no wolves in Nebraska, right?
No, but I swear to God, I saw a big black driving home from the close spot, the spot that's only 10 minutes away. I was coming back down O Street, and a big black dog looking thing was chasing a deer right in front
Ooh.
of my car. I almost hit it, and it was massive. This thing was huge.
Hmm.
And I thought, what the? So it makes me wonder. I don't know if Dogman gets down, but it looked like a dog. It didn't look. It
Mhm.
didn't look like it didn't have human legs, or if it did, it didn't look like that running. You know what I mean?
How long
They,
would you think it was?
gosh, it was big. At least as big as the deer.
Yeah.
As
I mean,
long
they
as
do
they're
get
in
down on
range.
4 legs, Nick, right? I
Oh, they
mean,
do. There
yeah.
are times when they will get out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's possible
Yeah.
that could have been what you saw, Shawn. It's possible.
Maybe it was a big black something chasing a deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I don't know too many things that are big and black that actually can keep up with a deer, you know, that are that
Right.
big. Wow.
Right. It made me wonder if somehow a wolf got down here, but we just don't have wolves down here to speak of. I've never heard of it before. I know we have big cats.
Yeah.
We've got cats. They say we don't, but we have them for sure. We have
They
them.
say the same thing here, and we've got them. They just deny it. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah. A friend of mine saw a black one, which is odd.
Yes.
But oh, and another thing, yeah, I was taken. So after I had cast that footprint, that was July 5th. Boy, no, it wasn't. It was July 3rd it was July 2nd. I cast the print. July 3rd, I went and retrieved it. And I talk to the woods when I go in, and I just tell them, "Hey, man, I'm not here to mess. Yeah, I don't want no problem." You know, like Tobe Johnson, he kind of gave me some advice.
Tobe
to talk
told
to the
us. Yep.
woods. Yeah. So I try to not irritate these things. I don't want to piss them off. So I went down to retrieve the footprint, and my daughter was with me at the time. We did a little fishing in a creek, and we went over and we shot our guns on this air. It's a closed road, and at the bottom there's a big berm built up, and people go down there and shoot all the time. And there was a couple of locals down there, and I just brought it up and I showed them the footprint. Both of them turned like white. They were brothers, and they both had experiences with Sasquatch. One saw one in the town of Douglas run through the park, and the other one was down where we were shooting, and he saw one run right across in front of him. And they both were pretty sincere. You know, I could tell they were telling the truth. And the one brother actually said, I didn't say anything to my brother until he told me about his experience. And then I told him, you know, mine, because I was afraid of ridicule. I didn't want anybody giving me a hard time about it. But I'm not the only person who's seen them, that's for sure. People they're tight-lipped around here, you know.
Yeah. Same here.
Shawn, were you near Fremont, Nebraska, when you saw that large black creature going after the deer by any chance?
No, just a little bit east of Lincoln.
All right. What about Sandhills?
No, I don't do much. I've been out there a few times fishing, but I haven't had any experiences out there. I don't really I don't go searching these things out. It just happens when I'm hunting.
Oh yeah. No, just wondering, because there's been some reports of, well, there's been 3 reports since 2021 of gray wolf in Nebraska. They were confirmed, and one was killed in April of 2021. So, you know, they'll meander from state to state. Just because, you know, there's none there doesn't mean.
Well, Fremont's not that far, so
it
wouldn't. You know, if they can get down here, they can get down here, and maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I hope that's what it was.
Damn. Yeah.
I don't, you know. So this my primary area where I hunt down by Douglas. I went down to install tree cameras, and or no, I'm sorry. I went down to retrieve my tree cameras, and as soon as I got in there, I had a friend of mine with me, and she experienced all this with me at the same time. I had to walk over this little bridge to get to the one camera, and as soon as we walked over the bridge, you hear this crack, you know, wood knock louder than snot, and it was close. I can't tell you how close, but it was very, very, very loud. And I said, they're here. And she was just like, oh crap. So we walked around to the second one. We got that camera. And then we got back in my pickup and drove all the way around to the far corner of the property where I had seen the first one, and went down to that. I drove all the way down there because crops were out. And I think because my truck was close and there was somebody with me, I went into defense mode and I was not scared. But as I'm untying this camera, it sounds like a moose just busting through the trees, coming from the west to the east towards us. And I knew it was. And I screamed, stop. And it stopped. And I said, I'm just here to get my trail camera. I don't want nothing to do with you guys. And if I kill something here, I will leave part of it for you. Just quit messing with me. Quit screaming at me. Quit banging on trees. I don't need this. I just want to come down here and hunt. If I'm successful, I'll leave part of it for you. Just leave me the F alone.
Yeah.
And it stopped. I've got a picture of it. Where I had last heard it, I took a bunch of photos, and out of one of those photos, I've got a pretty good headshot. You can see it just kind of sideways, and where the sun's reflecting off his forehead, and that big sloped head and everything. But I wasn't scared. I mean, in fact, I don't even think I had my gun on me. I didn't have my 10mm. I had my concealed carry on me, my 9, but nothing that would hurt this thing.
Right.
But it bluff charged me, man. It was probably 70 yards away. Probably, I would guess. But he was crashing all the way from the top of the woods all the way until I screamed. I'm like, I couldn't believe it was happening. And her eyes were just bigger than, so I'm glad somebody was there to
experience
verify
it.
Yeah, this stuff is really happening.
Yeah. That's close. I mean, that's a lot closer than people think. 70 years away,
Yeah, it's not too far.
No,
really. I mean, within a couple seconds, the thing could be on top of me.
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know if they can reason with people, or if I don't know what would happen if I didn't scream. It would have stopped, or I have no idea.
That's a good question.
Maybe it knew it was a camera. It wanted to come down and take a selfie with you. I don't know. I mean, geez.
Maybe.
Shit, I think these things know.
I think they do. I'm not joking. I think they know their cameras.
I think they do too.
Shawn, does your camera have infrared, any kind of lighting or infrared?
Yeah,
because they can see that stuff.
They can see. I think they can see it. Yep.
Well, I think they know how to trick. Well, I've got a picture of an arm reaching around the tree, and you can see the hair hanging down from the arm, like probably that long, 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
I think he reached around to trip the camera to see if it was, still active, because the batteries in the other two had died out. So they know that he was maybe listening for a click or whatever.
Something. Yeah.
But they definitely know.
They know.
More tree breaks. They're all over the place. I got T's everywhere. There's structures, more footprints, all over the place. I mean, they're just there, and it's people think I'm crazy, but I know what I saw, and I know what's going on, and you know what's going on, and I think a whole lot of people know what's going on.
I think a lot more people know than people let on. For every, I don't know, it's hard to say. For every one encounter reported, you probably got 20, 30, 40, 50 that aren't reported.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, my farmer buddy, he said that him and his wife were out on the deck eating one night, and something was throwing rocks up on top of its outbuilding, and then they would roll down and hit the ground. throw a rock, it would roll down, hit the ground, just kept going, and kept going. And I said, you know what that was? You know what that was.
Yeah.
Is this close to your area?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like half a mile, maybe
Oh yeah, yeah.
half a mile directly
Sure.
east.
Well, let's
He
put it
lived
this
down
way,
there.
Shawn. What else out there can actually throw rocks? What else out there historically has thrown rocks?
Yep.
You
Right.
know, so
And
His
so
wife
accurately.
is his wife will not believe. I showed her the footprint, and she is so she's going to see one of these days. She's going
Mhm.
to. And
yeah.
and another guy. There's a guy that lives down there where me and my daughter were fishing that same day, and I showed him the footprint, and he said, "Yeah, they come and they look through my window at night."
Mm.
I said,
Mm-mm.
"Really?" And he said, "Yeah, it happens all the time." I just he's this crazy old man, and he was down there throwing firecrackers in the water. I think there's something wrong with this dude. So, but I think he's lived in the woods too long, or not the woods, but out in the country too long by himself. He's a weird dude.
So
But he
Shawn,
said
the
that
cat.
they peek in his window at night.
Wow, that's not a comfortable feeling, believe me. um, the tracks you casted. How many different sizes have you casted?
Well, I only did one cast. There was only
Okay.
one worth casting.
Okay.
I've got four different animals down there for sure, or
Four of 'em?
whatever,
Okay.
what animal type of person or whatever they are.
Whatever.
I don't know what
Yeah.
they are. There's four different ones for sure, and pretty consistently, I can tell who's who. There's a monster down there. He's got to be fully grown, 20-inch.
Whew.
The other one is growing. That's my size. And there's a very small one that's growing still. That one's footprint is probably 10 inches now.
Yeah.
20 inches down to 10.
Wow. That's a big track. 20 inches, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Well,
a
the first one
monster.
I saw, that was the first one I saw, and that's when I was first kind of thinking, what the, drunk
Yeah.
farmer barefoot sliding in the mud. That had just rained the night before. I went down there, and I was going to build the bridge that I used to get across the washout to get to my first stand. I took some 2x4s and some timbers, and I just made a bridge to get across this thing. And that's when I saw the initial footprint, and that's when I started wondering, and then everything, so many weird things from the past. I'd been screamed at, I'd heard tree knocks, I'd heard whoops. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what any of this thing was. I've heard what sounds like an engine block getting dropped out of a tree,
Oh,
just
wow.
boom,
Yeah.
And I think it's these guys jumping out of trees.
Sure.
When the sun's going down, they come out of the trees.
Yep.
If there's, the right tree there, and we've got several giant pin oaks and cottonwoods and big trees that these things could climb and perch themselves in pretty easily.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, they definitely get up in the trees, and that's one thing we talked about a lot on the show since you've been on last is people just do not look up enough. They do not look up enough.
Nope. Nobody likes to look up. Hey, Shawn, besides the gift of wounded deer that you give them out there, do you ever leave them anything else, like any trinkets, any food?
Now I've thought about it, and I don't want to start any kind of I was warned against that
Yeah,
by
definitely. I was just curious. Food's not a good thing to give them because
No,
right,
they consistently want it, and if you don't give it to them, they get mad.
it's like kind
yeah,
of
that's what I've
addict
heard.
off their poison of choice, cold turkey.
Right.
They get pretty upset.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I haven't done anything. I do when I'm not hunting, I talk. When I'm setting
Yeah.
up to hunt, I talk to the woods, and when I'm leaving, sometimes I'll talk to the woods because I know they're around, and
Yeah.
if they can understand me, they know that I don't want any interaction. I don't want them messing with me. I just want to kill my animals and bring them home and eat them.
Yeah.
In fact, this Easter, I pulled them back straps out and I brined them overnight, and that's what we had. I fed everybody these back straps. I didn't tell anybody it was deer meat, but everybody freaking loved it. Smoked it, seasoned it up real nice, and everybody was just like, "Man, that is the best meat I've ever had." And I told them it was deer afterwards. But it was
Nice.
real good, real good.
I bet. Now, Shawn, so you think back to the female thing? I get a lot more action when my wife's with me as well, and especially if you're with a woman that's having her time of the month. I mean, do
Yeah,
you agree with that as well?
Man.
I do, because I've heard too many stories. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. I think they can smell the pheromones and the, hormones in the air.
I've heard of hunters taking used tampons and nailing them to trees during deer
Oh.
season.
Really?
Isn't that gross?
I've never heard of that. Yeah.
Well, at least I'll know what it is if I ever come across one when
Right?
I'm out there.
Yeah.
Some idiot is tapping tampons to the trees, and
Yeah. Some guy at work told me that, and I said, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." No, I don't. I think I'll pass on that.
Pass on that one. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I mean, that's too much.
Sean, the
Too
two you
much.
saw, what color were they?
Oh, black fur and dark charcoal skin.
Okay.
The skin was like almost stone colored,
Yeah.
like black, like ashy gray, but dark ashy gray.
Yeah.
And no whites. There's no whites in the eyes that I could see, but that could be because their iris is so large.
Yeah.
They may be really dark brown, and it's just really a big iris, I guess, because I've heard other people say they've seen the whites in the eyes, and
I have too. Yeah.
so yeah.
Who
But I've
knows?
also heard people say they've illuminated up in green and red and everything else.
I've seen
I've seen that.
everything from green to red to fluorescent blue. Even.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've not encountered that. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I try to stay. I don't want interaction, but I do look for sign when I'm out,
Yeah.
and I run into it all the time, and I do get interaction, but I don't. I'm marked. I think once you know these things are real, I think that they all know that you know that they're real, and that's when you get the
Absolutely.
whoops, and that's when they're not afraid to come steal your deer. That's when they
Absolutely.
will gift you things, and
Mhm.
I don't know if it was a gift or a warning, putting bones on my chair and putting owl feathers up underneath my seat, my tree stand. All it'd have to do is reach up and jam under there. Yeah, I killed this bird, and this is what I'm going to do to you if you come back here. I don't know what they're trying to tell me.
Right.
No idea, but I'm not going to stop going. I'm going to go harvest my deer, and they can have the gut pile, except for the heart. I'm keeping the heart from now on. I ate the heart this year, and it was freaking fantastic.
That's my favorite part too, man.
And that's what they want. They want the heart and
Well,
the
they can have
liver.
everything else.
Yeah.
They can have the liver, because I don't do that.
I do the same thing, Sean. I'll leave the gut pile, liver,
I tell you,
everything else.
so off the air, I told you guys about my grandma dying. She was 100 years old. Sure, it was attacked. And the sweetest woman in the world. We were over there today just before clearing out some stuff and getting things from her house that she wanted us to have. And she had told me a story. This is going way off track, but I want to tell it anyway in her honor, for Ruth.
Mhm.
she had told me a story a bunch of times about her and her brother having to go to the butcher when they were little kids, and dad sent them to get liver, and they came home with heart. Well, that pissed her dad off. He sent them right back to the butcher to get his change and get the liver and exchange the heart for the liver. And so this year I pulled the heart out. I've never eaten heart before. I Googled how to cook heart, and me and my daughter sat there and prepared it. It was part of my daughter's confirmation. She had to do some not charity work, but like sort of charity work. Just do something nice for somebody for confirmation, part of her class for church. So we cooked dinner for grandma. We went over there at night. I took the inner loins, and my daughter and her mother ate the inner loins because they'll eat steak. And me and Ruth sat down and ate that heart with mashed potatoes and a nice salad. And I tell you what, man, she was happier than a pig in shit, and I was so happy to make her smile. You know, it was a really nice experience.
That's awesome.
And because of her, I will never throw the heart away again. So God bless you, Ruth. I know she's up in heaven right now with her husband and her kids that died before her. Probably eating heart.
There you go. Yep. So what else has been going on down there, Shawn?
Just getting ready for the end, man. You know, going to the range a lot. I'm trying to get dialed in. I've got several guns, and I want to be good with every one of them. I want to be able to be on target with everything in my arsenal. So I've been pretty fanatical about that. I've been going out and shooting a lot, and just busy, super busy with work and stuff like that.
Oh, I just thought of something I wanted to ask you. I don't mean to cut you off. As far as your crossbow goes, now we know these things know what guns are, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Long guns, pistols. They know what they are.
Yeah.
Now, crossbow, bow. You think they know? They're.
Yeah, yeah. I think they watch. They've seen it. They've seen me kill animals.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. This group, this clan, at least they know.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Well, crossbow, when you got it to your shoulder, I mean, to them, it probably kind of look like a rifle.
Yeah, that's what it probably does.
Yeah.
I think they recognize it as a weapon of death.
A weapon of some sort. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
And you said there's a gun shop across the street, correct?
Literally across the street, and they've got an outdoor rifle range, and they've also got a little pond where me and my daughter fish a lot. In fact, my daughter, she caught a 20-inch largemouth out of this tiny pond. Nobody's ever caught anything that big there before, but she got a master angler award. Yeah,
nice.
We got it's hanging up in the bar next to me here. I've got a picture of her holding the fish, and we tossed it back in, and she got a certificate from the Department of Wildlife here for her accomplishment. Pretty sweet.
Nice. Makes you wonder if they pick fish out of that pond.
Maybe they're from the property I hunt to where the pond is and the gun range. There's actually a underground culvert for water.
Okay.
There's in case there's any flooding or whatever, there's an area for water to run back and forth.
Right.
If need be, if anything ever gets too wet.
Yeah.
So, and you can stand up and walk right across. I've done it. I've walked through the tunnel before into the woods on the other side. And it's creepy as F in there. It's like spooky, it's eerie. It's always super quiet. You don't hear squirrels, you don't hear anything in there. It's creepy. Really creepy. And it makes me wonder if that's where they bed.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. If they have place there, that's where they hide whenever they're trying to stay away from people, and then they come out for the morning sun. And
yeah,
I think they do, because I've seen huge beds up on the hill. So I don't know.
Soaking up the sun. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of any Dogman encounters down in Nebraska, Shawn? From
No,
anybody?
I haven't, but I haven't really dug into it yet.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of people now that have, that have seen Bigfoot, but no Dogman. I think that might be, even if somebody did, they might not talk about it 'cause it's so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
If they're here, which they probably are, I think they can be anywhere they want. It seems to me that their primary goal is just to scare the piss out of people, and that's what they do.
They sure
What
do.
what do you think, Nick? I mean, what is their primary purpose? Why do they always mess with it? Just they scare the living daylights out of people, and then they let them go.
From all the research I've done and speaking with people, I basically think that that the humans have happened upon their area, and they may have a kill right there at their feet and the humans in the area, or the human is between them and the kill, or them and water, or they might have a juvenile. I mean, a lot of my research has revolved around people telling me that they saw juvenile dogmen. And the minute a lot of these people saw the juvenile dogman, mama and papa are there.
Yeah.
They saw larger ones. By juveniles, I'm talking about 5.5, 6 feet.
Yep.
Papa comes out 7.5 feet and growls at them, and they just back away. They just back away, and that's it. But sometimes these juveniles, they go off on their own. Like I said, I got a buddy of mine down in Texas. He owns a ranch with his wife. He's had juveniles farting around in the barn next door to him,
Yep.
and he's actually taking shots at them. But I think it's just that you're just either too close to their family or to their food or water source, and they're trying to get you to go away. I believe that the Dogman and Sasquatch are both smart enough, not like human smart, but smart enough to know that if they start killing humans, that the human race is going to hunt them down, and take them, wipe them right off the face of the earth, and we won't stop. And they're right. They're right. I
Yeah.
think they noticed that we would do that. So you don't really see a lot of killings unless it's really necessary type of deal. I mean, back in the early 1800s, where you had those miners and their camp had been set upon by Sasquatch because they shot one, and the Sasquatch surrounded them and threw the rocks at their cabin. I mean, back
Ape
then,
Canyon.
yeah, Ape Canyon. Back then, they really didn't know that much, about humans. But now I think they know a lot about us.
Yeah.
And what they can see is that, look, we're not going to mess with them, as a whole, unless we have to. So, I mean, I haven't had a lot of attacks by Dogman on people. There may have been 3 in the last 50 years. But that's about it.
I think they know we're a dangerous. Let's face it, human beings aren't exactly the nicest species to each other.
Yeah.
So, and I think they damn well know that.
Like a dog, you some people, you go up to them and they got their dog there, and the dog doesn't like you, or doesn't like the person that's coming near them, and the dog can sense that this is a bad person.
Yeah.
No matter how much they try to get to know that dog still don't like them.
Right.
I mean, that happened in my old neighborhood. This one mailman in my old neighborhood, he kept going up to the fence trying to get to the door to deliver the mail. The dog wouldn't let him anywhere near the house or the kids. And if the kids are in the yard, it's a fenced-in yard playing, where they could play. The dog wouldn't let that mailman anywhere near, so they wound up putting a mailbox right there at the fence. So that's how they got their mail. But what I want to get to is this part. That mailman was later on arrested and jailed. He's probably still in jail because he was a rapist.
Oh.
And he was a very, very bad person. I think he was a murderer also. I didn't follow the full case, but I know they put him in jail for a lot of things. And he's probably still over there in Rahway State Penitentiary. So what I'm trying to get at is animals can tell the difference, and cryptids are like in between animals and humans, as far as I can see, and far as the
Yeah.
research I've done. And yeah, they, I guess they evolve with their thinking too over the years.
Sure.
They see where we have evolved and they have evolved a little bit, and they know us better. And they probably had more guns pointed at them, so they pass it on, in whatever Sasquatch speak or Dogman speak they use.
Yeah,
But,
well, they're masters of their domain. I mean,
oh
Absolutely.
yeah, wow.
we live in these houses and we drive to work and we do our thing, and we've lost that edge,
Hmm.
Yeah. They have fully evolved and kept evolving to survive.
Well, look at it
However
this
they
way:
have.
they live out there,
Yeah.
24/7. They live out there.
Yeah.
So, yep, they're masters. Plus, a theory I've worked on. Jay and I have talked about this. I've talked about this with many other people. I talked with a physicist about it. I mean, that there's 11 different dimensions out there. So it's quite possible. It's possible that Dogman and Sasquatch both use portals to travel. It's also possible, at least in my estimation, Shawn, that they could be alien, alien race, either pets from aliens or they are the aliens and they're getting zipped up into the spaceships. So, I mean, there's all kinds of theories going on out there. So,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think the interdimensional thing, I lean on that. I think that's probably what happens. I think they
yeah.
can come and go as they please.
Yeah, I mean,
But
how can you see footprints and then boom, suddenly
Yeah.
they're
Well,
gone?
one
I
foot.
mean, it's kind
that's
of
what I
crazy.
mean. Yeah, you can follow a trackway in the snow for a mile, and
Exactly.
in the middle of nowhere, the only possible explanation is a helicopter dropped a rope and pulled the Sasquatch out. So yeah, the
I mean, yeah,
events and
you're right. You're right on, Sean. I mean, you got a big snowfield and you've got one track,
right,
one big track, and where the hell's the rest of them?
right, and that happens quite frequently.
All the time. Yeah. Yep.
So that's kind of leads me to think that, man,
They
there's
can
so
pop.
much out there we just don't understand.
We don't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. People have
but
no idea what's out there.
yeah. The bottom line, though, is we're dealing with. I mean, these things are coming into our reality, and they're here. I mean, they are. More people need to know that. I think the awareness is. It needs to be the center of every researcher's. I don't know that we need to get it out there. People need to know these things are real, because it messes your head up, man.
Hmm.
It really, I can't even imagine seeing a dog, man. Thinking about it scares the hell out of me. Seeing Bigfoot scares the hell out of me. Just knowing that they're real scares the hell out of me.
I mean, just
Not,
just
not
just think of
pleasant.
something 7.5 feet tall, 600, 700 pounds, 3-4 inch claws, muscular as all get out, and it's got the face snout of like a wolf type
Right.
features,
Yeah.
and it's looking at you growling. I mean,
know.
it's like okay.
Then take a 10.5 foot Sasquatch. It's probably tipping
Oh,
close to 2,000 pounds,
uh,
and he's
Right.
doing the same thing at you. I mean, it's not,
Busting,
it's not pleasant.
yeah, busting trees and screaming and
Screaming at you, yeah, throwing
taking
logs at you,
friggin'
boulders,
Sasquatch 10 feet, taking a tree down with one arm, and it's like, oh
jamming it
God.
back in the ground. Yeah, crazy.
well, yeah. Like
All I could tell you,
Karen,
Shawn, is with when you're out there with your 10 million or your rifle shooting, shoot
yeah,
small. Shoot small, because you got to try to aim for the head if you're out there and you get attacked.
Yeah,
I think getting it through the eye socket is probably the only way to protect yourself.
well, that's probably what I'll do, and I'll save the last bullet for myself, because I don't want to feel my arms getting ripped off.
ripped apart.
You won't feel it. They're going to take the head first. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just thought I'd be cheery for you.
I do keep an extra mag, so I mean, I've got a lot of hopefully enough to I just want to get back to my truck and get out. That's it.
Yeah.
And I probably would never hunt again if I was actually attacked.
Yeah.
Quick little thought though, they might track you to your home. So
I think that might have happened, honestly.
Really?
Where I used to live is on the edge of town. To my west, there's a row of houses. Behind that is cornfields. So the country is not that far from where I used to live. In fact, it's not far from where I live now. It's a half a mile to my east. You run into farm property. So Nebraska's little dots of people here and there, but there's so much open land, it's unreal. And the night that I got screamed at, this has been several years ago. I have this bad habit of getting up in the middle of the night eating. It's happened since I quit drinking 20 years ago. I have to have something sweet. So I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'll go eat something sweet, I'll go back to bed. I'm standing in the kitchen, the lights on, and something taps on my window. Right? This is the same night that I got screamed at. And this is miles, and this 40 minutes away driving. So I grab my gun, I go out in the backyard with a flashlight, and I see something jumping the fences going west. And anybody who's got light sensors in their backyard, their lights are going on, all the way down the row, fast and super fast. Now this wasn't a tweaker. I mean, I don't care how much methamphetamine you're on, you cannot run this fast.
No.
But this thing is running and jumping fences all the way down the block.
That's exactly what they did.
Right.
They
I never
followed you
put
home.
I never put that together with until years later. I mean, it was like, shit, is that what that was?
Yeah.
This thing was tapping on your window, Shawn, saying, "Can I have half of that apple pie, please?"
Right.
You're
ice
hungry.
cream, but
He's hungry. Remember.
yeah. Bring him inside. It's cold out.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Definitely not nice.
No. Well, gentlemen, I think unfortunately we run out of time here.
I'm telling you, it was so good. It went fast. Look at that.
It always does.
You're right.
Always
It
does.
is.
So Shawn, we got to get you back on some episodes on the roundtable sometime soon.
Absolutely. Yeah. Things will settle down here before you know it. I have to drive to Denver this week and get my dad's bike and a few other things. And once things settle down, I'll probably be able to engage more. I'd really like to get back in the group and be more proactive with everything.
That'd be nice. Real good.
That'd be great.
Yeah, appreciate you talking to us tonight about what happened there.
Yeah, Shawn, thanks a lot, man.
Especially that last one with the tapping on the window.
Yeah, that was.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. You don't know how many people this has happened to, Shawn. I'm telling you, just for me talking to people and being communicated with through Facebook or email or telephone calls, you wouldn't believe how many people tapping, and they see this poor little face in the big face in the window, and they're scared shitless, and they're in their kitchen with the light from the refrigerator shining on them, and they're like, that's one of those aha moments that you don't want to have.
Yeah, I didn't look. The second it happened, I ran and grabbed my gun and a flashlight, and I booked it out into the backyard and just saw this thing going boom, 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 boom.
Man, definitely one
bullet
followed your home.
That's what I think now. At the time, I thought that it was Amanda's ex-husband, but
wow,
turns out he was not.
He was not a Olympic hurdler, was he? No,
and he was nowhere near the property, and he wasn't a tweaker. He was, I put it together later, but at the time I didn't know what was going on at all. I had no. I know I was scared from earlier in that night. I didn't
Sure.
hunt the rest of that year. The rest of that year, I just kind of blew it off because whatever it was that screamed at me scared the hell out of me. And then I put it
Yeah.
out of my mind. And it was years later before I saw one or you know, kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
So
Well, thanks, Shawn. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you,
stick
John.
around,
Definitely.
stick around for a second, Shawn, after we shut this off.
okay.
But everyone, thanks for listening in tonight. Shawn, always a great guest, always great co-host. Can't wait to get you back in the groove, Shawn, and we'll see you soon. Everybody, God bless. Everyone be good to each other out there. We're in some rough times, so
Yep.
let's get through it.
Good night now.
Good night, everybody. Evening,
night.
night, guys.